Also, it just gets better and better. Elon Musk yesterday said Bannon is in the Epstein files.
Right.
Boom! Oh my God, this bag of rats is getting to be so much fun.
Well, and then, I think that was like a subversive making us all want to vomit like Alex Jones, because thinking of Steve Bannon having sex in any form is just utterly so.
All right, listen, hold all of your emails. I've got this week. I know I made a grave error last week when Bob and I talked about Alex Jones, and I did not make Bob do his Alex Jones. But Bill in Tampa said, Mama, good morning, you beautiful, sexy liberal goddess. You know they have to start with that. Bob says, if Bob Cesca does not perform for us and do his Alex Jones impression of him crying yesterday over Trump's involvement in the Epstein files, then you should pull his man-meat card. I don't know that I have the authority to do that, Bob, but I mean... Oh, my God, crying Nazi bitch tears, right?
Well, I got to tell you, learning that Donald Trump is covering up the Epstein list is too much to take. Does this sound fake to you? Does this sound like fake crying to you? Because it kind of is. I'm crocodile tears. I'm putting on a show. And this is me faking crying. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Bob says, ladies and gentlemen, crying
one-man show there.
Nazi bitch tears. Yes, he said, I just got to the office and I'm going to throw up. Actually, that was, you know what? That made me throw up a little bit.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he did.
He said, I'm
going to throw up.
I'm physically going to puke. Probably right now my mouth is watering. Gross. Because I have integrity.
Well,
says the guy to the San Diego parents. Okay, that's.
I wonder if when he pukes, I wonder if he sounds like a cat puking. Where he goes like, "Did you see tiny helicopters there? Waka.
I'm eating breakfast." Right. Yeah. Hal Sparks does though. He sounds like a 1940s.
Yeah,
a 1940s comedian.
Hal Sparks does the best cat about to puke impression. He says it's like a zany character from the 1940s, and that's his shtick.
Yes.
God. Gotta find the clip on YouTube of Hal Sparks talking about his cat that talks.
He said, I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this, it just tears my guts out. But that's when he
tearing my guts
Then
out.
he did the full-on John Boehner.
Oh, yeah,
America.
When I talk to little children, whenever I talk to little children, it just makes me tear up, makes me break up.
John Boehner's trigger words.
Was Alex Jones doing John Boehner crying.
No, but the what do you call it? John Boehner's trigger words. What were they, Chris? They were tavern.
Yeah.
And also America and children.
Yeah.
Right.
Little children.
I agree. We're going to the tavern.
When I see those little children, it breaks me up. I can't talk about it.
What are we going to do for America? Okay. All right, now we're officially having too much fun. So, I mean, but this Epstein
I can
thing...
do a Jack Nicholson impression, maybe a Christopher Walken later. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
all right, I'm having too much fun. Okay. Also, it just gets better and better. Elon Musk yesterday said Bannon is in the Epstein files.
Right.
Boom! Oh, my God. This bag of rats is getting to be so much fun.
Well, and then, I think that was like a subversive making us all want to vomit like Alex Jones, because thinking of Steve Bannon having sex in any form is just utterly disgusting. Where I'm sure like big chunks of his skin falls off from the motion. It just like the leprosy kicks in. Oh,
God. Hunks of skin
everywhere.
everywhere.
Whenever Steve Bannon has to move too much, he's just like, whoops, my finger just fell off.
See, that's how they would tie him to it. There's still giant hunks of necrotic lumps of skin where Steve Bannon's been. Oh, my God. If anyone's able to eat after this segment, I'm just going to put this back.
Yeah, I know. Have a good breakfast, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. All right.
Enjoy those hash browns and sausages.
But it is literally, isn't it, where somehow we meet MAGA, where we're just like, oh, just now you realize that they lie about everything all the time? I mean,
of course they do.
And such ridiculous lies, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's so obvious. I say this all the time, so I'm kind of repeating myself. But Donald Trump, for example, is the world's most obvious liar.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that he's lying, and all of his people think he's the only one telling the truth, and everyone else is lying.
Yeah.
That is utterly brainwashed cult behavior.
Yeah.
This obvious liar, I mean, they're so utterly blind. I mean, yesterday in the cabinet room, very clearly trying to deflect away from the Epstein client list by saying, why are we even talking about this now? Jeffrey Epstein, that scumbag who I was seen partying with. I mean,
a million times.
There's video, Stephanie. There's video of the two of them palling around, Donald Trump having a great time, joking. He's cracking up Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
He's cracking up a child rapist, sex trafficker with his stupid jokes, and it's all on video, and people are like, I don't know, is he on the list? I don't know.
I mean,
he is.
You retweeted Aaron Rupert, said, wow, Trump jumps in and tries to shut down a reporter who attempts to ask Pam Bondi about the missing minute in the Epstein jailhouse tape.
Yeah,
I mean, I had full-blown panic attack yesterday during this cabinet meeting, right?
Right, and that's the other thing about him being so obvious, because anyone with a brain in their head observing that video from the cabinet room could very clearly tell that this was a guilty man who wanted to put this whole issue to rest and was doing it in such an over-the-top way that it really emphasized more guilt than if he just said, yeah, I'm on the list. He might as well have just said, yeah, I'm on the list. What are you going to do? But so he puts on this little show, and everyone goes, well, all right, I guess maybe he's not on the list. We should just move on. Everyone in the press. Do something else.
I mean, and plus, we had Brian Caramon yesterday just talking about, oh my God, this was 90 minutes of full-on dementia 101. From gold leaf to, I mean, just that exchange, who stopped the weapon shipment into Ukraine? I don't know. You tell me. Why don't you tell me? I'm like, can you imagine if Biden said that, right? And it's like, you're blackout drunk defense secretary, obviously.
Yeah, see, the advantage of being a fascist dictator is you don't have to answer any questions if you don't want to. I mean, that's just it. He's under no obligation to do anything that anyone expects of him, because he can just send in his ICE Gestapo or whatever, occupy cities with a weird military force wearing masks and get away with it. And so, and with the compliant Supreme Court too, he's just unfettered now, and it's terrifying to look at. So I just turned that fun thing into an awful thing, but it's true.
Yeah, it is just, as we were saying, I don't know what's distracting from what, or it's just a series of, evil, incompetent things that happen one after the other. I mean, this tragedy is, in Texas, Bob, that is just getting worse by the minute in terms of what the final death toll is going to be. Do they think we have no memory that he blames every Democrat on every level? He blamed Biden for Texas, and then he tried to catch himself. What did he say yesterday? That was Biden's whole water setup. That was Biden's. That wasn't our. What the heck? What does that even mean? And then he's like, even he knew how ridiculous that sounded, and then said, it's not Biden's fault either.
Entirely Biden's fault.
Oh my God, he has blamed for every, whether it's a red state or a blue state, he blames Democrats or Biden, right? And now it's suddenly, because Texas is entirely the fault of Republicans, right?
Mm-hmm.
In charge at every level.
Basically, we're all on our own now, because it's only going to get worse from here, because as we learned yesterday, Ted Cruz introduced a whole bunch of amendments to the awful budget bill that was passed last week that would further weaken NOAA and their forecasting ability, their ability to be able to predict these sorts of weather events as the climate crisis gets worse and precipitates more of these weather events. The ability of the federal government to protect its people is now significantly diminished, on top of the fact that after this hurricane season, FEMA will disappear. FEMA will cease to exist. This has already been announced. And so what we can expect is definitely more weather events. They're not going away anytime soon. And a federal government that's going to do nothing about it. And Donald Trump will continue to get away with it, despite the fact that he spent the entire time during Hurricane Helene talking about how, and I think Jessica Tarloff was talking about this, how Joe Biden gave FEMA money to migrants or something for and which is exactly what they're doing with this death camp in Florida.
Yeah,
so
that's where the FEMA money went.
Yeah.
But Alex,
the whole thing is being diminished.
Alex, aren't the weather events caused by Obama's tiny airplanes?
Yeah, tiny helicopters and airplanes moving the tornadoes all around. You see the tiny helicopters moving that giant super tornado closer to the town, because then as soon as it hits the town, then Barack Obama can take your guns away.
Right, and flown by lizard people.
Flown by shape-shifting lizard people from outer space. They work for Bechtel, IBM, the Bilderbergs.
Funded by Raytheon? Was it?
And Raytheon, too. Yes, I never forget Raytheon in the list.
The Bob Cesca T-ball.
Yeah.
Me setting Bob up. Alex Jones T-ball. Can I just say this story, though? I say for just because of your Alex Jones, I say this. This is how beyond crazy we've gotten. Militia group plots more attacks on, quote, weather control radar stations after vandalizing Oklahoma. This is what... I mean, again, they're not fringe. Marjorie Taylor Greene is in Congress about the, the Democrats have, I don't even get it. Weather machines, something? What? I don't, okay. So Mike Myers, is this the guy from the horror movie? It's a different one. Michael Meyer, founder of the anti-government extremist group Veterans on Patrol, posted a warning on his Telegram channel due to recent weather weapon deployed against Texas, which resulted in a high number of child murders. Efforts to eliminate this military treason are being escalated. Hours later, a man broke into an enclosure, including the next-gen live radar system operated by News 9 in Oklahoma City, damaging its power supply, briefly knocking it offline. Meyer said the attack was part of what he calls Operation Lone Wolf, adding he's in discussions online with over a dozen people who are willing to carry out similar attacks on
weather radar?
Something that's like part of the Marjorie Taylor Greene something weather machine conspiracy.
Yeah, this is when I go back to my ongoing thesis, which is we need to shut down the internet. The internet came along way too soon in our evolution. Our ability to distinguish between fact and fiction, truth, lies. And we just can't handle it. And this is another case where people turn off the internet for a little while.
Yeah.
Go
touch
outside,
grass.
touch grass. Yeah.
Okay. Let's just end with one last one you flagged. Trump said in New England for 50 years they had 2 whales washed up, and last summer they had 14 washed up. Now I'm not saying that's the wind farm that was built, but maybe it is. It probably is. You just said whopper lie. Obviously, Noah. There is no scientific evidence that noise resulting from offshore and site characterization surveys could potentially cause whale deaths. There are no known links between large whale deaths and ongoing offshore wind activities. But, stuff.
Yeah. Well, they also
wind.
cause cancer, don't you know?
Yes.
There's windmills. If you
Yes.
live close to a windmill, you're going to get some sort of weird windmill cancer.
Well, the whales are obviously getting windmill cancer. So that's,
And then when the right, and then when the wind isn't blowing, you can't watch TV, darling.
Darling.
It's one of the Trump things that drives me nuts. Where you go, darling, the wind isn't blowing, so we can't watch TV, darling.
I heard you
it's
say
like
that.
nails on a chalkboard.
No, I heard you say that yesterday. Like, he's not annoying enough normally, but I join you in hating that voice the most when he does his impression of, he and happy wife Melania. Darling,
Right.
went to begin and he goes,
The sun isn't shining, darling, so the solar panels can't make us watch TV, darling. Oh, God.
oh my God.
Make it stop.
Make it stop.
Make it
please.
stop.
Make it all stop.
Yes,
all right.
absolutely right.
Except get your Bob Cesca show at bobcesca.com, and also your new Bob Cesca Superman shirt.
Yes.
I'm off to get one shortly.
New store link under the logo at bobcesca.com. Yes, thank you.
It'll be my Wednesday uniform, like in Catholic school. Well, this is all too familiar to me, right? You wake up with a scratchy throat, congestion, maybe a runny nose or a cough. You know your body, you know you're getting sick. So your choices are you tough it out, you get sick, take time off from work, hope the doctor can see you this month, right? Wait 2 hours at urgent care, sit in a room full of other sick people, or you can open your medical emergency kit just like mine. I just match my symptoms to the doctor recommended prescription, start on the right meds, and I nip it in the bud right now. This is not a first aid kit. It comes with doctor-prescribed meds to treat dozens of common and serious medical issues, strong antibiotics for infections of all types, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, bronchitis, and a lot more. Plus, a doctor's easy guide so you know exactly what to take and when. No waiting to see the doctor, no waiting at the pharmacy. All my meds are right here in my kit. Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit. Order yours online in just minutes. Your kit will be rushed to your door. Get $45 off at urgentcarekit.com/Stephanie. The promo code is Stephanie. Don't forget promo code Stephanie at urgentcarekit.com/Stephanie.